Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am JayLee. This is JLeesCorner. This is a review for something. I don't know what yet because I'm making one opening review for all 6 or 18,000 reviews I have to do today. The title is what this is, or it might be on your screen right here. But again, it's a review, okay? If you have not done so already, please come over to subscribe to my channel and become a whole JayBird, dun 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 dun, and all that goodness and stuff. If you hear music, it's very possible upstairs neighbor being an asshole right now. We're gonna let him be because I don't care that much, but you know what I'm saying, it ain't me, it's him. Do not forget to also like this video, comment in the comment section, share the video and everything. Let's get to breathing it on now, because I need to breathe it on now because I can hear his music right now. Y'all ready? Inhale, exhale. Okay. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Okay. And remember to relax, to relate, to release, okay, and to center yourself and anyone around you or above you, okay? You can also follow me on IG on Twitter at J_Lees_Corner. Okay, let's get started on something. So, Marriage Boot Camp Hip Hop Edition Secrets Revealed is what we chit-chatting about today, okay? It wasn't much. It was just enough to give you a little video, okay? So we hear from the producers, from the cast. Well, the cast a little bit, okay? Dr. Ish and Judge Lynn Toler, okay? Now, they all kind of bring up how the two previous hip-hop seasons, how the people was really into the process. I say because the first two seasons had more real couples. This season was some bullshit, okay? Now, season 1, okay, as we can recall, had, Fizz and Tiffany, who was the only fake relationship. Dynamite and Lil Mo, who has since separated or divorced. Waka Flocka and Tammy, who was an actual couple. Soulja Boy and Nia Riley, who was a couple. Not really a couple, but they were a couple. We knew for a fact they had at least been in some kind of relationship. And then, of course, Jessica and I can't remember her man name, but they had a baby. So they were all Fizz and Tiffany wasn't really invested like that, but they did take it seriously. But they knew at the end they would not be together because she had a boyfriend. No, she came out and said they only went on there for a check. So again, this first season of Hip Hop Boot Camp made sense based on the couples. Okay, then we had the season 2 people for hip hop. Okay, but we had what was her name? Aisha, Styles P, and his wife. I can't think what her name is right now. Johnson and that man or whatnot. We had, Lil CeeLo and his girl, who name I can't remember. Stu and Miss Chalet. Miss Chalet. Girl, can I do her voice? So I can't remember. Anyway, and then the blue hair people. Okay, now Miss Chalet and Stu were who we thought was a fake couple, but it turned out it was more Bianca and the blue hair dude, okay? What's his name? Chosen? His Options. Called him Options. Which is Bianca and Options was more of a fake couple, even though they got pregnant and had a baby after the show. But again, they were invested in the show because they all had some type of actual relationship. Now, this third season of Cronies, okay, where we had drunk ass Corrupt and angry ass Tony, cheating ass Willie and accepting ass Shonda, fake ass phony Phaedra and Medina, we still don't know, Decepticon, ZZ Top, and then Tahiri and violent ass Vado. None of the Tahiri and Vado was fake. Medina and Phaedra was fake, and Corrupt were too drunk to take anything serious, if you ask me. And even though ZZ Top and Decepticon were a real couple, they was only there for a check. So I feel like, you have to get real people on here. Technically, only Willie and Shonda was there for the right reasons, plus a check. But I digress. Okay, so We see all that. And now we do see how they say when the show begins, it doesn't only start when they get in the house. They have them sequestered in a hotel room like a day or two before coming to the house, okay? And they then bring up how so that's how they can see who has issues even on the way to the house. So we do see Willie and Shauna talking or whatever, both saying how they want to see the other one listen. We then see we see Tahiri and Vado in the car saying how she's saying, I thought I knew you, but I guess I don't know you. So hopefully in this house for 10 days, I can get to know you better. I would not want to go to a house and work on couple therapy with any man who I feel like I don't know that well. I would not want to do that. I'm not coming here to get to know you. Getting to know you. Getting to know all about you. That ain't what I'm going there for. Not today. And then we seen Tony and Corrupt, and he already looked drunk. How you drunk on the way to the house? And she already looks pissed off. So they bring up how they were, of course, sequestered to the hotel. And when she said on the show that he was calling the girl a couple days before coming here, they were in the hotel that the show put them in. It wasn't like they was somewhere about it. No, I did not realize that before. I'm looking like, how was you really Corrupt? Really? So they bring up that's why she was so mad on the car ride, because all this happened during the show, not before the show. I'm looking like, Now, they bring up, how nice Medina was, and, seeing him rap, and people did not know he was a ghost writer, and he was so nice to people or whatever, and this and that, and they don't, with him being so nice and so good looking, they don't see what Phaedra was still looking to see in him that made her feel like they couldn't be no couple, because they wasn't no couple. They both did a check. Okay, she wanted to be on a reality show, and so this was her best bet. I do believe Medina and Phaedra tried to date. I believe they probably went on one date, maybe two, and it didn't work, but they were still both adult enough to say, hey, we can go on this show. Because if you recall, the buzz of them possibly dating happened right before it was announced that they was going to be on the show. I feel like they both, again, just wanted to check, but it is what it is. And then, I think she wasn't looking for shit. He could have gave her $10 million, put her sons through college, cured the tax debt of the country, and then solved the cancer crisis, the AIDS crisis, the homeless crisis. He could did all of that, and he could get Barack Obama reelected for 8 more terms, not just 2 more years, or is it 2 years, 4 years? 4 years. Not just 4 more years, 8 more terms of 4 years. He could do all of that. And Phaedra still would not want to be with him. Why? Because they weren't really dating. So he may be nice on television. Okay, but we still know their ass was fake. And we also know that Claudia Jordan said he's crazy. Okay, but she all crazy. Not gonna go there. Anyway, we do see them bring up how hot it was in LA. It was oh so hot. The house that they have is in LA. It was hot this summer. So much so they showed one of the staff producers passing out bloop, on the floor as he was just walking into Hazel and Devon's room, Decepticon. Now I feel like, when you walk into the pits of hell, it gets hotter. So, walking into ZZ Top and Decepticon's room, that's the pits of hell. And so it was hotter in that room than anywhere else. But it was cute to see Devon help him. Okay, it was cute to see Hazel. Help! Somebody help! It was nice of them to help him or whatever. I'm like, whatever. They then bring up the hotness because Tahiri taking off her jacket and ZZ Top being upset about her boobies being out. And they're like, it was really, really hot outside. So in that moment, when she took her jacket off and the whole cast was around talking, the producers said they did not even realize that Hazel and Tahiri was kind of fussing. All they heard was tons of conversation. And because they all were talking, they couldn't catch any conversation. So what I did not know, if you notice on the show, they're always like a couple of them having a clear-cut conversation. Like you don't hear much continuing conversations of many people, because the producer then walked up and said, hey, y'all all talking and we can't pick up any one conversation. So, it's just too many of y'all talking at once. We need to have like one conversation. So the producers were the reason the fight kind of stopped, because they came in and said, hey, we don't know what's going on. And they said, had they known, they probably would have let them keep fighting. They said, but that's the reason why Hazel and Devon ended up walking off and then meeting up with Vital, because Vital was in the house. And Vital just happened to come out at the same time of all of them dispersed and whatever. So that's why she ended up going over there telling him about the Tatas being out live or something, but still on the list. So we see that part. I'm looking like, okay, so we now know producers be looking for a conversation that can be aired on television. If they all talking too much, they can't air it. Boom, pow, pow. They then get into the whole Willie Decepticon fight. The producers also felt like that the Decepticon snuck Willie in one way or the other. I'm not going to say he snuck Willie. It wasn't a sneak attack because they were face to face. I will say he caught Willie off guard once Willie, turned to look at his wife or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So to me, what that meant was Willie wasn't really trying to fight. And when the Decepticon seen the opening to get at him, he did it, but it was what it was. We see kind of the aftermath of that when they're all sitting around and ZZ Top then say, oh yeah, that's going to be one of the top 5 fights on television. And Shadow's like, bitch, I don't care about no fucking TV fight. You know what I'm saying? That's not why we here. To me, that just speaks to Hazel being there for what? For TV. So that's what she there for. Okay, that's what it is. So we do see production bringing up, after that happened, the speech that Judge Lantola gave people, about how they expect black men to do dumb things and then get locked up. Me locking my first black man up, in whatever year it was, you know what I'm saying? And we have to do better and be better. That whole thing was one of the best moments they've ever had on the show. They then say that in hindsight, what they also realize is a few moments later, ZZ Top and Shine was arguing as if Justin told her to not just give their whole speech about how we have to do better and be better. Well, bitches don't care, okay? And them is some bitches. Anyway, so we also see how they figured out who leaked the story, because when the fight happened, the story got leaked immediately. And that is, I think, one reason why this season, which was recorded a while ago, did not air until just now. Remember, Hazel wasn't even really pregnant all the way. Hazel got pregnant prior to the end of that being shot. That was the baby 3 months now. So again, that was like a year ago or whatever. So again, it was because of that whole thing. Anyway, but productions that they have really airtight NDAs, to not discuss the show. However, there was footage of Hazel on her phone on live and saying how Decepticon beat up Willie from Day 26 or whatever. She told them who was in the house. It was her who leaked the information. I feel like that's the reason to never want her on another show. I don't like shows where when the season airs, I already know everything. Like even with the House of Potomac, we don't really know what started the fight with Candace and Monique. We knew something happened, but I like it when everything don't leak. Hazel leaked everything and then tried to make it seem like Decepticon beat Willie down, and I'm like, that ain't what happened. It was more of a little shoving match, a little push. He broke the counters, he broke all the glasses. She made it seem like it was a knockdown, drag out, violent fight, and it wasn't that. It wasn't that at all. So again, that's how we know we can't trust ZZ Top. Okay, we then the whole Vital and Tahiri fight or whatever. They kind of show the yoking from a different angle, and from the side angle you do realize how he grabbed her clothes but also pushed her back to where she could not move, and you kind of realize it was more than just a second or two. Like you realize that had Dr. Ish not walked up, he was still holding her. down. And not to say that I still don't feel like she was also aggressive. Not to say, despite her being aggressive, it does not warrant him ever putting his hands on her. It does give you a different perspective on the severity of what he did, just based on him not snapping out of it himself quick enough. The man not having any reaction, because you see Divine Decepticon sitting there looking like, but there was no reaction. I always felt like, oh, it was a couple seconds, like 2 seconds. And the video that you see now that they play, it was a good like 5, maybe 6 seconds. You pause for a second or two. You don't pause for 5. You don't do the 5-6 second pause. So that part to me was what it was. Production saying how they were shocked that it happened. They were, on pause as well. However, they say they did know that he was pissed. We was aware Divider was pissed, but we was not aware that he was so pissed that he would do that. We've never had anyone on the show do that. And they then bring up how everyone in the house felt like he shouldn't have to leave. They felt like, everyone deserves a second chance. And the reason I am 50-50 on that is because I still feel like I said before, Willie and Decepticon got into a knockdown, drag out fight that it took them forever to break up. I feel like them two men were violent towards each other. And I also felt like Decepticon was more of the aggressor, in my opinion. So I felt like if y'all didn't separate them, you then made it a bigger issue when Vital did what he did. And I felt like there was a way to have him in the house but away from Tahiri, or there was a way to have him more involved in the progress or the process of the show. Okay, he had a hotel, but like to have him consistently gone most of the time versus having him still around with just the guys and not near her. Like they completely put him to the side even after things were calm, after no one in the house felt threatened. Hell, Tahiri didn't even feel threatened. I felt like it was a better way to still have him involved in it, but still away from Tahiri. You know what I'm saying? Still talk to him about what he did, but still not exclude him so much. That's just my opinion. But again, the Cavs was like, we don't think he should leave. Like, even, but okay, that's on them or whatever. They then bring up how the only reason they did the whole t-shirt thing on the dummy thing was because the drill that day was supposed to have been, the following day, was supposed to have been, intimacy and sex or whatever. They couldn't do that at that point. So they had to come up with something real quick, like within 4 hours, and they came up with, okay, draw this shit or whatever. Because what we don't realize is at that house, there's a whole, they're like departments and like it's a whole setup in that house. And there's like a whole art department that has all these things that they can do. They had boxing gloves and all the shirts. So they had all that stuff already. So what it was. But again, they just said that situation had never happened, and it threw a whole monkey wrench in. And then they got the drunk ass corrupt. Okay. Now the producers bring up how, the ones who were like assigned to him, because sometimes on these shows they have specific talent production to deal with each person and whatnot. So the producers who were assigned to corrupt say he was drunk the whole time they worked with him, the whole 7 to 10 days that he was there, meaning before the show started and when he left on day 7, he was drunk the whole time. And how from day 1, when he was drunk at the panel, when they did, the whole this is what they said being recorded or whatever and playing it back, he's like, I love my dick. That day, they said they knew from that moment right there, they would have to consistently watch him and his actions based on how drunk he was. They show the hammer board real thing or whatever, and they show how they specifically are saying like, don't do this, don't do that, don't throw the hammer, don't take your gloves off, don't be loosey-goosey with it or whatever, don't toss it. They're saying all this to everyone and reiterate like, you can't do this, you can't do that. And they were going to have them use pickaxes at first. And they then said, we can't give them pickaxes. That's just not safe. But we can give them like a regular around the house hammer. Well, drunk ass Corrupt gets up there and takes his glove off and tosses the hammer anyway, even though they had specifically just said don't do it. But he was too drunk. Okay. Dr. Ish brings up how they asked production to keep a track of how many drinks he had daily, just to be sure they were aware of how drunk he was and what his intake was. Okay, they bring up how it was tons of calls from production to his management or whatever about his antics and whatever else, and that's why they decided to stop the brown liquor on day 6 or day 7, whichever one it was. And that's why, he was drinking too much, and because he's alcoholic, you can't cold turkey an alcoholic because their body will shut down, they'll get sick, they'll die. And so they thought, okay, we can just not have him drink brown liquor and that will help him. But again, when he couldn't drink anymore, that's why he did, I need to leave, I want to go now, the women are crazy, Tony's going crazy, she can, and all that bullshit or whatever. And so, he left blaming Tony for being crazy. And so they just realized like he ain't good to be here, like he need to be in rehab, he don't need to be here in marriage boot camp. And then they realized like Tony reaction to him and not being so loving and not being so kind and sometimes being very pissed off or whatever, it's because she's been dealing with it for 3 years. And to us, it's like, oh, you can be nice. Like, why are you so mean to him, girl? Let him have a drink, because she knows the ins and the outs of his bullshit. And I think by like day 6, they realized he on some bullshit. Okay. So then, see what's happening currently. Okay, and currently we know that Willie and Shonda got pregnant. Okay, and they have a baby girl. Her name is Willow Marie, who's 3 months. Okay, Shonda wants Willie to get snipped. Okay, because she don't want no more babies. ZZ Top and Decepticon are supposedly allegedly married. I don't know. They say it. She said he put a ring on it. I was like, did you put a ring on it? Anyway, they also had a baby girl. Her name is Ava Dior. She is also about 3 months, which means they both were pregnant at the same time. ZZ Top and Shonda both got knocked up by Will and Decepticon around the same time. Maybe in the house. I don't know. Medina and Phaedra, of course, are not together at all. They were never together in the first place. Move on from that. Tahiri and Vado are not together either, but again, they weren't real in the first place. So whatever, I don't really care. And we do find out that Vado was the third person to have a deception indicated with his lie detector results, where they asked him if he was really sorry about what he did to Tahiri. And Dr. Ish said he do feel like Vado didn't, he's sorry about it, but he's still, a piece in him still like doesn't really believe it. Some shit, I don't know, some shit or whatever. And then Corrupt and Tony are still together, and she is pregnant with his child, a baby boy. Fix it, Jesus. I'm like, how, after all that, you let that man put his penis in you with no condom? How broken is Tony to continue to be with him, have sex with him, and let him have a girl? I don't know. Let's pray for them all. Anyway, that was all. Peace.